So let's move it on, and let's talk about our first story of the evening. And it's going to be a relatively brief story. I've just been keeping you updated on. This is the 5th week that the NCAA has come out with their playoff rankings, and really we've seen no change. And so there's not really going to be that much to talk about. You have Alabama still at number 1. Now they do finish up the year for regular season play against Auburn, which is their rival. You will see them in the Iron Bowl, which was an amazing game 2 years ago or last year. So get ready for that. That should be fun. I see Alabama smashing. And then Alabama will have to play in the SEC title game. I believe Missouri looks like they're going to be the ones who they play. A good team, but not really in the same caliber of team as Alabama. So look for Alabama to kind of win out. Then you have Oregon plays Oregon State. I don't know what they call this game, but they probably have a name for it.
The Oregon game.
The Oregon game. So yeah. So and these are traditional rivals. Again, Oregon is in a different class than Oregon State, so don't look for there to be much competition there. But they will have the Pac-12 title game coming up pretty soon, in about 2 weeks. And I think they're going to either play UCLA or Arizona State, one of those two teams. And those are pretty good teams. Now they did already beat Arizona State this year, so I don't really see Oregon getting that challenge, but you never know. That's why they play the games. Then you have FSU plays Florida. Florida's on a really, really down year. It looks like they're about to fire their coach, Muschamp, but you never know. It is still Florida, so it could
FSU,
happen.
Florida State University. So we have a whole bunch of just interstate games.
Well,
coming up.
that's kind of what they do for the last game of the year. Is they have a bunch of rivalry games. So you have a bunch of interstate games. That's why Auburn plays Alabama. Both of those guys are in Alabama. You have Oregon State. Yeah, just a bunch of interstate rivalry.
I guess it might also make sense too, because then hopefully you have less traveling, and these players, they're still in school. They probably have finals or something to get.
Yeah, finals are coming up pretty soon, so they want
a few extra hours off the road. It's probably nice for them.
Never hurts, right? And then number 3, so you have Florida State playing Florida, so we'll see what happens there. Again, I bet you Florida State's going to just run over them. But they do finish up the year with Georgia Tech, it looks like. I think that's the ACC title game. So, again, I don't see Georgia Tech beating Florida State, but that's why they play the games. And then number 4, you have Mississippi State playing Ole Miss. Again, another one of those interstate rivalries. Now, this will be the win. If Mississippi State wins this one, that'll solidify them in the 4th spot, because they're the only one of these 3 teams that is not going to play in their conference title game, and that is because Alabama is going to play in said conference title game. So if Mississippi State wants to stay in the top 4, they're going to have to win this one. And Ole Miss is fallen in the rankings. They were in the top 4, I believe, for the first rankings. And then, just go watch that show to see what happened for week 2. The injury to Treadwell, that was pretty bad. But look for them to stay there. Then you have the 2 teams behind them. TCU, I don't see them winning. Even if they win out, they're not going to make it into the top 4 unless 2 teams lose in the top 4. And I really don't see that happening. The only team that I can really see maybe squeaking in would be Ohio State, because they still have to play Michigan. Michigan's on a down year, not a great one. But then they have their Big Ten title game. So they could theoretically squeak in, maybe bump Mississippi State out. I don't see any of that happening. But, again, there's a reason they play the games, because you never know what's going to happen. Any given Saturday, I guess it is for those guys. I was going to say Sunday, but that's NFL. That would be wrong. But let us know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Are these going to be the 4 teams locked in? Are they going to win out? Or do you see one of these teams losing? And who's going to jump in if one of those teams loses? Hit us up. Let us know. Comments down below. Of course, at Where's My Face on Twitter. Where's My Face at gmail.com. Google Plus and Facebook. Always good ways of getting a hold of us.